long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, it is a period of bloodshed and corruption. Two men in disparate but equally rotten businesses find themselves united against a common enemy, while still diametrically opposed in their methods. Lives are on the line with every passing day, but what is really being pursued? A killer? Vengeance? Justice? Or the comfortable lie of law and order? The Gangster, the Cop, the Devil is rated R primarily for violence and profanity. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Hello there, and welcome back to 6 Degrees of Star Wars, the podcast where we explore all the ways George Lucas's flagship franchise surrounds us, binds us, and penetrates us in the landscape of cinema. I'm your host, Sam Marchioni. Joining me today, another oneer, but such a good one, Shamila Karanakran.
I blame River for the way I keep butchering this movie title. I promise it makes sense in context.
Wait, how do you keep butchering?
Because of their quote-unquote stupid Netflix show, The Bastard Son and the Devil itself. That's why I keep referring to this. The Gangster, the Cop, and the Devil itself. And then sometimes in parentheses I go, and they're all bastards.
Well, apparently there is at least one translated version of the title that is The Story of Evil People. But yes, listeners, we are here to talk about A Degree 6, The Gangster, the Cop, the Devil, a 2019 South Korean film that stars Ma Dong-Seok, who you may also know as Don Lee, who co-starred with Kumail Nanjiani in Eternals. And Kumail Nanjiani was in Obi-Wan Kenobi, hence Degree 6.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! We play a wild game here, we truly do. But I'm not a fan of crime movies in general, so I was not expecting to vibe with this as hard as I did.
Well, I did grow up with a lot of, crime and action films, but this is specifically Asian action films. I didn't see my first English language film until I was 11, and that was when The Phantom Menace came out. So because of that influence, it can kind of be really hard for me to get into Western action films. Okay, so further context, my dad mostly watches, Tamil language action thrillers, not the Hollywood ones from Tamil Nadu, but from the Sri Lankan film industry, which I have a lot of issues with, starting and ending with colorism. My uncles, on the other hand, they branched out to sort of East Asian action films with the likes of Jackie Chan and Donnie Yen and Stephen Chow. But I don't think I really properly got into Korean action films until Train to Busan started showing up on my dash.
Train to Busan was actually supposed to be our Degree 6.
Yes!
But then I went and I checked the Inator again, and actually the composer on Train to Busan has become a composer on, I think it was Visions.
Yeah,
it was a segment of Visions, and I was like, no! But then I found this movie, and I'm so glad I did. This was actually recommended to me by a friend who, we don't agree on everything, but this movie fucking impeccable.
Yes. So many actors try to hulk out as much as possible for, action roles, yet not a single one of them can bring I could absolutely pulverize an army single-handedly energy that Ma Dong-Seok and his absolute unit of a body does.
Oh my god, I'm going to try to be appropriate throughout this movie, but I don't think a man has ever looked more attractive.
No! Oh my god.
Okay, I'm sorry, it's just the impeccable pinstripe suits that he walks up in, and the times when he's we're introduced to him punching a guy in a punching bag. Classic gangster move, but the way he does it,
yeah.
You know Thina was getting it good.
Yes!
From Gilgamesh.
Yes!
And this is your daily reminder that Eternals is actually underrated and maybe you should go watch it again. But we're not here to talk about Eternals. We're talking about The Gangster, the Cop, the Devil, which I think the original translated title, The Story of Evil People. Yeah, because I did have a couple of different notes about ACAB. I think my favorite might have been that poor high school girl who looked at the cop and went, you look more like a thug than him.
And it really, ties into the whole thesis, they're all evil people. Even, with, Dong-Soo,
To clarify for our listeners, Dong-Soo is the name of the gangster.
Yes.
And the cop's name is Tae-suk, and we're just gonna call the devil, who is the serial killer both the gangster and the cop are chasing, the devil, or K.
I had so many flashbacks to, like, when you go to high school in the oddies, you're inevitably gonna come across anime clubs and Death Note fangirls. This is like
I am
Yagami.
a recovering one of those.
Yes.
My friend group insisted on cosplaying at Anime Boston as them.
Oh no.
It happens. I mean, I still own the entire English dubbed version of Death Note. It is what it is, and you can't deny the beauty of I'll take a potato chip and eat it. Kay in this movie does not get anything so dramatic as that, but oh my god, the fucking scene with the dogs. I was
God.
I watched this movie with a bunch of other people, and we got to that scene, and everyone was like, oh, no! It was our community moment of, I can excuse serial killing, but I draw the line at animal cruelty.
Kay doesn't really get as much, like, dramatic moments, but he does have that really smug smile, and even unlike most movie serial killers, his MO is like pretty mundane. It's literally just him driving around until he catches someone alone. He rear ends them and then he just stabs them to death when they go out to check the damage. Honestly, if it were me, I'd just play possum in the car until he gets out of the car and then run him over. And honestly, this is one of the many reasons that everyone collectively decided that I was better off never learning how to drive. But we haven't unlocked that part of my backstory yet.
I mean, I also think driving is literally the worst thing ever, so this is a good reason to advocate for public transit.
Yes!
I got so sucked into this movie, I stopped taking notes after the scene with the cake. Because on top of everything else, on top of the serial killing, on top of the possible puppy murdering, this guy took somebody's birthday cake that wasn't meant for his and ate it.
It's like poking the poodle, like, yep, I'm gonna eat your cake and you can't do nothing about it. Who's gonna stop me?
Because I murdered you, and also I'm murdering the guy who's in the back of your car while I'm eating the cake.
The audacity. Okay, should we get into, like, the basic plot of it? Because I'm pretty sure we lost, everyone.
We probably did, but it's a very simple premise in that both a gangster and a cop are trying to catch a serial killer. They're both racing against each other to catch this guy, but also working together.
And basically, like, whoever catches him first can deal with, Kay, however.
Yeah, and the gangster got involved because he was rear-ended and an attempted victim. You can't put down Ma Dong-Seok that easily.
No, he is, like, made of iron. Especially, like when in that, well, we're skipping ahead, but in the court scene where he's testifying, like, what happened to him, and he's, like, stripping down right in court.
And he's like, I know what it takes to get stabbed.
And then
the small part of me was like, you can stab me anytime, sir.
Oh god, we are so thirsty.
I'm not normally like this.
Neither am I!
I mean, it also, I don't want to say that, like, Kim Moo-yeol is a bad actor.
I was frustrated with him.
I mean, the character is frustrating, but it's also, like, it's hard to stand up to the amount of riz when your biggest scene partner is Ma Dong-Seok.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, he is just a powerhouse in this one. Like, he easily overshadows everyone, and, like, it's like, okay, so I know the scene where, like, Tae-suk is, like, confronting Dong-soo about, like, framing Kay for that murder weapon. It's supposed to be a serious one, but he's flinging him off with one hand while he's on a phone call. It had me cackling. It's like he's dealing with an unruly dog who keeps jumping on him.
He's so outclassed. It's not even funny, it's just sad. Ma Dong-seok is carrying this movie so hard, like, you get why they're making a completely unnecessary remake of this in English with Sylvester Stallone, but they're still bringing in Ma Dong-seok.
He is the right person for the role. You cannot replace him. Also, I do not trust that remake casting at all. Like, like, it's not even necessary in the first place to bring a Eastern film to, like, Western setting. It, like, completely erases, like, a lot of context in the film. Like, especially in that, drinking scene with the Three Stooges, the three idiots, as I affectionately call them. There is layers to that drinking scene that you can completely miss if you're not familiar with, like, the basics of Korean drinking culture. So, the basics are generally the younger men pour drinks for the oldest first, and you also have to turn away from the oldest while you're having your drink, because those two things are all about seniority and respect. And that's why Dong-Seok pouring for Tae-seok, and Tae-seok looking away when he's been nothing but mouthy and bratty to Dong-Seok. It's such so shocking. And then, like, literally, like, one of the Three Stooges literally stops mid-chew, and the face journey that he has is hysterical. Like, oh, so you're close now? I thought you hated each other. How did you even get here?
You just know that in the American version, that's gonna get turned into Tumblr's favorite ship.
Oh.
Like, normalize intimacy between men that isn't shipping. Please, people.
Yep. Though the AO3 girlies have already latched on to another iteration. Guess what?
It's Ellen and Light.
Oh god, we're never gonna get the Death Note away from it.
I know what internet I'm on, okay? There's almost nothing bad I can think about this movie to say. The soundtrack slaps.
Oh my god, yes.
And some of the transitions had me losing my mind. Like, after they come up on that victim's first car and they pan away across the bridge and it moves into the painting in the room where Dong-Soo is having that meeting with one of the other gang leaders.
Oh.
Cinema!
Oh god. Western directors could never. Because, like, Korean transitions and action scenes, they're on a whole other level entirely. But I also kept thinking, like, there were certain, like, scenes that also match with some of Ma Dong-Seok's other film roles. This is where we're getting into the pairs with Nichols. The scene where I did mention where, like, he's on the phone and he's, like, swatting away, like,
right.
The cop. It's like it's a recreation of one of Ma Dong-Seok's scenes from The Outlaws. That's a 2017 film, I believe it was. Also, if I had a nickel every time Ma Dong-Seok's character threw Kim Sung-kyu's character into a car, I'd have to nickels. It isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
I mean, I just love how outclassed, like, the scene when the two of them are collaborating and it's like, haha, I'm taping you. Well, actually, I'm taping you. It's underrated comedy gold. It's like, you know, shooting the camera isn't going to damage the recording, right?
Mm-hmm. I think the one issue I had here is that Tae-seok doesn't even seem to learn that he's still a bad guy. Like, even though, like, Dong-Soo is telling him, like, no, we're both bad guys. We're just teaming up to find the worst bad guy. And even though the schoolgirl literally called him out, saying that he's more of a thug when he was ragging on her for, like, taking the umbrella from Dong-Soo. It's like, he's more aggressive than Dong-Soo in that moment.
Even, like, that thing where he goes to Dong-Soo in the hospital room is like, oh my god, you got stabbed, that's so embarrassing for you. Not as embarrassing as being a cop. Sick burn.
Uh-huh. He never learns his lesson throughout the entire film, and, like, at the end of the film, he's the one that is not in prison with any of them. And I don't know, I just found that, ugh.
He seems to be following the trajectory that feels the most American to me.
Yeah.
In that he's that young hothead who wants to prove himself and his superior officer isn't paying attention to him. I mean, like, they throw some shade at the US for having as many guns as we do, and dear god, please, we don't need the gun. Not gonna talk about that, but, like, he's still running on the logic that the cops are inherently good, and therefore he is doing good because he is enforcing law and order, and, like, he's still, like, even within the police ranks, he's a freaking creep. Like, when he basically assaults one of his female co-workers by jumping out at her and freaking her out.
no. This is why I was just, no, I was just ready for him to have some sort of downfall, and we never see anything pay off.
I mean, that is unfortunately very true to reality.
Yeah.
And, the movie claims that it's based on a true story. I don't know.
I keep looking at it, but there is literally nothing in any of the articles I've seen, so I'm thinking it's like a Fargo situation.
Maybe. I really, really hate movies that fudge around with their historical things like it. I saw Firebrand a couple weeks ago, which is the Alicia Vikander movie about Catherine Parr, the sixth wife of Henry VIII.
Yeah.
And it's like, history doesn't pay attention to anything that isn't men, so we have to fill in the gaps. I'm like, you can't do that because we do know history about this woman. We're off topic, but like, it gave me that same kind of vibe in this sense of like, is this actually based on true story, or are you like,
I think it might be
Frankensteining a bunch of things?
That's what I'm
happened.
thinking. It's an amalgamation because like Korean serial killer stories, they are, I want to say, but different than Western serial killers because there are like actual films that are based on like these sort of cases, but mostly unsolved cases. But I'm not really sure how to explain the context of this.
Like I said, I don't really watch cop stuff in general, partially because I grew up with a white lady for a mom. Of course, NCIS was constantly playing. White moms love Mark Harmon. It's just a fact of life. So, like, even then, that's not a lot of serial killers. That's more like Criminal Minds territory. But I'm not gonna do that because if your show is so intense that even Mandy Patinkin's like, nah, I can't keep doing this. Like, you lost me. Honestly, like, I feel like Dong-Seok probably could have found this guy without Tae-suk being there at all.
He would have, but I guess he needed like other sort of information, like quote-unquote legal information.
Yeah, police records and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that he doesn't like have internal connections to the police. Like usually in films like this, there's always
shocks me because we see him talking with the chief of, I don't know if it's the station or the city, but we see him talking with, we see that drawer full of burner phones.
Yeah, I was wondering why he couldn't put a connection there.
I mean, I think it has to do with saving face.
Oh,
like he didn't want to admit that he was the one who got stabbed, even though like the criminal underground already knows he's the one who got stabbed, and he's had to assert his power several times. I'm shocked we didn't have a repeat of that thing where he pulls somebody's front teeth out with his bare hands.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That is like such a visceral scene. And then we do get to that part where like he has his like right hand man sort of stab his rival and with the same weapon that Kay was using. It was just
which is wild.
Yeah.
I'm not disputing that maybe a serial killer would do this, but to show up at somebody's funeral and be like, "Hi, yeah, I'm a serial killer. I didn't do this." Like,
the audacity!
He was this close to being caught too. Like,
if,
like somebody hadn't walked by, Dong-Seok would have seen him.
Exactly. Also, because usually, this is where I say, like, serial killers have such an ego, especially with Kay, because he can, even though he knows who Dong-Seok is, he continually antagonizes him. Like even when he was killed, he killed that schoolgirl that Dong-Seok lent his umbrella to.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Unnecessary.
Fucking women in the refrigerators. We can never get away from it.
Ugh.
Honestly, I wanted to see Dong-Seok adopt that girl and turn her into like a little badass.
No, but fully, I was expecting her to everyone to think she was dead, and then fully show up in the court scene, all bandaged, like holding onto an IV pole, looking him straight in the eyes.
Oh my god, that would have been so cool.
Yes. Subvert the fridging.
Yeah, but the tropes are the tropes, and the tropes must be fed.
Yep, and this is especially like a pulpy action film. Like with pulpy action films, there's always like the death of the people around you.
Yeah, but it's still a good one. It's a really, really good one. And I mean, I might be tipping my hand a little bit here, but this is a movie I think just about everybody should watch. It's not super, super gory like some movies about serial killers would be. Like, the most horrifying thing that I think happens is that part where Kay staples his cut closed.
Yes. Oh. Yeah, I had to look away at that scene because...
Yeah. But I mean, like, it's a subtle kind of violence for the most part. Like, maybe you see a bit of punching and stabbing, but it's done primarily in shadows. Or if it's in daylight, then you're seeing more the aftermath than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
It's an elegant sort of pulp.
Well, when it comes to Ma Dong-Seok, he can't be anything other than elegant, especially when he's in those fight scenes.
Or in that suit.
I've seen pics of him in that white suit with the black shirt, and that is a look too.
Also, like, I need to make sure that I was not the. Did he have like did Kay have like a boy band haircut to you?
He did. He had those weird looking bangs.
The first thing I thought when I saw him was like, why does he look like a Beatle? But then I'm like, wait, no, it's more of a Justin Bieber thing with the swooshy whooshy.
Yeah, but it's a common It's a common haircut for like K-pop trainees.
He seems to have aged out of K-pop trainee though, which kind of makes me wonder if I would have enjoyed this movie even more if he'd been a K-pop trainee who like snapped.
Oh my god! But
because we don't really get a lot of backstory for him other than that he's a missing person who just went missing.
We do know that, like, when they go to the orphanage that he was raised in, they have those records of his father abusing him, but that's pretty much it. It's like serial killer with that,
and it's so vague. New. That could be anything from corporal punishment to like not feeding him.
Exactly, and like with Korean, well, how do I explain this? There are a lot of subtleties with abuse. Especially, like, with bullying in the school system. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen The Glory.
I haven't, but I did play this, like, dress-up game that had some stories based in Korea and specifically focus on idol training.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I know that that's a cutthroat thing. And in that respect, again, I'm thinking that could have been, like, another key fitting into the puzzle.
Yes.
I'm mixing metaphors, but, like, that's another venerated institution that's churning out some really shitty stuff, like the police are, so...
Exactly.
It could have been cool. I get why they didn't do it, because, like, the whole... an orphan who was raised in an orphanage and abused by their parent, that's a tried and true stock trope of serial killer stuff, because also child services, at least in the US, child services are an institution that should be venerated but are often shitty as fuck.
Yeah, but honestly, the K-pop angle, like, it'd be fascinating. Look, I generally don't touch anything to do with K-pop because they're
scary.
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff also about colorism and anti-black racism and, like, stuff that's been appropriated from black people that generally has nothing to do with physical violence, but it's another sort of violence in its own right.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen K-pop stans go after people for advocating for, like, anti-racism movements or something like that, and they're like, well, soon enough, the person you're trying to support with this GoFundMe will be dead, but our favorite K-pop band will still be continuing and be awesome. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
It's almost like a mob mentality. Oh god, you could easily, like, write like a K-pop star using the masses in order to do horrible, horrible things.
Yeah, although, now that I'm thinking about it, if you did that, the movie would probably have to be, like, an hour longer.
Yeah.
Or a mini-series or something like that. I don't know what Korean TV is like. I've only ever seen, like, really wild K-dramas.
Yeah. No, this is why we have stuff like The Glory, because you would have, like, if you're including something like K-pop, you would be including all sorts of, like, social media and clips and everything, and the movie does not have enough time to go into that.
Honestly, I kind of wish we could have seen more of the trial, but I get why we didn't see more of the trial, because, like, they have a point. The case was really flimsy, because despite Kay somehow being the worst serial killer ever, he's also very good at it.
Mm-hmm. He's always been getting out on technicality, so the only way for, like, them to defeat him is, like, Dong-Seok turning himself in. It's like, fine, if you're gonna be like this, I am taking you with me.
Also, it ends on, like, the quote-unquote cliffhanger of Dong-Seok being in the same prison as Kay, and it's like, oh, you're gonna get it now. Like, $50 says that after that scene, Dong-Seok fully busted out.
Yeah. Oh god.
No, like, prison walls can hold Ma Dong-Seok.
Also, I think this is the scene where the AO3 girlies kind of went wild, because you have Kay, like, in the showers, and then, like, Dong-Seok coming in, and then the way they look at each other, it was, like, grinning so fairly at each other.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a rematch angle to it, like,
yeah,
this time it's personal. But also we know there's no fucking contest.
Nope. No, Kay is a twig. He has no chance. No, not when he
is going to be suplexed. He is going to be filling up Dong-Seok's next punching bag.
He is gonna be caught by the steel chair this time.
Can we talk about the chase scene that ended in the karaoke bar? More movies should have chase scenes through karaoke bars.
Honestly, it's hysterical.
Because it was so funny to watch. He sees the room where the women are absolutely terrified, and he realizes, wait, it was Dong-Seok, right? Because
yeah, it was
he then,
Dong-Seok.
Like, crashes through the door and starts punching him through the door. He punches him through the door.
Oh god. Yeah. This is why he is the action star of this.
How did he not kill him then and there?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, maybe, like, I don't know. I could see, like, the AO3 girlies saying that Kay has some sort of superhuman resilience, but I am not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
I mean, this man... Oh, no, wait, I'm thinking of Dong-Seok. Kay didn't get hit by the car, right, when that happened?
No, Kay did get hit by the car.
We might be talking about different... I'm talking about Dong-Seok had brought him back to, like, a hideout and had him tied up to a chair.
Oh, that
and then
one, yeah.
Tae-seok drives into, like, the warehouse and fully does a drive-by.
Oh god, yeah.
On Dong-Seok. And Dong-Seok's fine.
He takes a lot of beating throughout this. It's, like, not surprised that he's still alive, but considering, like, he's listing off all the injuries that has happened to him since Kay rear-ended him, is like, no, if it was anyone else, they would have been dead, but it happened to me.
Honestly, the more the movie goes on, and the more hits he takes, the less realistic it becomes that Kay could have actually done any damage to him.
No! It's like, this is why he relies on sneak attacks.
God, I hate it when we have a good movie, because that means the podcast is just shorter, because we just keep going, this is so good! This is so good!
But also, because Ma Dong-Seok is so good, he completely overshadows, like, the cop and the devil. And, like,
right.
I was really irritated with Tae-seok. Like, even when he was in that booking scene where he like grabs Kay by the back of his neck and starts shaking him, is like, what are you doing? That is not a bobblehead.
Yeah, he has no real personality outside being a cop, and being a bad one at that. Like,
it's like you put a bunch of tropes into one person and gave no personality.
He has that scene with, like, the boy band dropout who has all the tattoos on his arms.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the kid's at least trying to, you know, have some kind of rapport, but, like, Tae-seok's not taking the bait at all, and, like, did the kid drive away on the motorcycle while still handcuffed?
I think he did! No! Oh god, because it's like, Tae-seok is so single-minded. He has tunnel vision, especially when it comes to like this, because I distinctly have a feeling that by the end of this, it's gonna start another case like this, where he does so much damage and is so thoughtless that there's gonna be another two bad guys ending up in jail, and he's still the one walking away scot-free.
Fucking cops, man.
Ugh.
ACAB is not exclusively American.
Yeah.
God, thinking in their universe timeline, he's probably sitting cushy as, like, head of the department now.
Oh god, that is... awful.
Not a good thought to have, but,
No.
like, I don't know, maybe he'd be dumb enough that he'd get, like, stabbed by... Honestly, Dong-Seok probably gets out and spends the rest of his life trying to take Tae-suk down.
Yeah, he's gonna, like, annoy the hell out of him. But also, I do think, like, Tae-suk is dumb enough and incompetent enough not to get promoted, so he's stuck in that position.
I mean, he could fail upwards.
But to what extent? Like, he's not gonna get department head at that rate. We can only hope.
I don't know enough about the inner workings of Korean police departments to say for certain.
But there's, like, all sorts of politics. So if he screwed up badly enough that, like, other, like, important people were affected, then they could, like, technically freeze his career.
I don't want a sequel. But also I kind of do. I'd rather have a sequel made by Lee Won-tae than have the American version.
Oh god, no. Because you know they're gonna cast the pastiest white guy as K.
It's gonna be what's-his-face from The Idea of You.
I don't know that one.
Look it up. You've seen one pasty white boy, you've seen them all.
Yeah, that's pretty much my mentality. Although now, don't quote me on this, but I suddenly have this idea of Ma Dong-Seok and Azad Saman from Interview with the Vampire, kind of going head to head.
That's the actor who plays Armand. I'm very behind on
Yeah,
Interview
he's the
with
one who
Vampire.
plays Armand.
Okay, I could see that.
Like, he has the right level of unhinged and smug.
And then you'd have an interracial couple.
Exactly!
God, I'm sorry, it is so freaking hot. Just give me 1 second. It's hot like Ma Dong-Seok in this movie.
Yep. And also, it doesn't help that there is a thunderstorm going on my side, which kind of fits with the car crash scene.
Why can't more fight scenes be like that? Normally, I'm not a fan of movies that have this overly green tinge to all their night scenes, but this one made it work.
And I could actually see what was going on.
Yes! Thank God! Night scenes where you can see shit. One of my favorite things. Oh, another instance of Tae-suk, like, not having any sense of humor. There was that coroner lady who was examining the body at the first murder site, and she's like, well, it might have been a heart attack. I have to assume that was meant as a joke.
His EQ is just in the dumps.
Like, no, it's a serial killer.
No, that is the sort of single-mindedness that makes enemies everywhere. It's like, his EQ is in the dumps.
He probably never goes out to the karaoke bar with his friends after work.
No, but I'm pretty sure Dong-Soo does. Yeah, because Dong-Soo, he looks like the kind of guy who would... He has fun. He has fun.
I mean, you have to have fun when you're rigging slot machines. I can't believe how much of a thing they tried to make that for the first part of the movie.
But it's kind of like drops off. It's like, okay, there's not going to be any payoff for this.
They didn't even say, like, if that was what Dong-Soo was going to be arrested for. Or, wait, maybe they did. I got a little sidetracked during that courtroom scene because, like, stabbing and tattoos, like, oh my god, so many tattoos.
Tattoos! He is covered in all of them. Oh, that is a look.
I should have paused the movie and, like, tried to take a better look at, like, all the tattoos and tried to figure out their meaning, because I bet they are so intricately designed and so deliberate.
I'm pretty sure. Like, Korean movies are notorious for that.
This has made me really excited for the next time we get a Korean movie, because I think the Korean movies that we've had on the podcast so far, there haven't been a lot of them, but they've been really good.
Yeah.
And by there haven't been a lot of them, I literally mean it's just been The Handmaiden.
Oh, but I think it's because of, like, the cinematography standards and, like, you have to, like, incorporate a lot of different cultural details with that because you are showing that this is specifically a South Korean film and it's to also distinguish yourself from other, like, East Asian, like, action films because China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Korea.
Like, this isn't a movie that you could put Michelle Yeoh and Jackie Chan in.
No. It would not work because they're not in that culture.
Maybe you could put maybe Michelle Yeoh should be the cop.
She would be more tolerable, I would say. But I also do say that she's Chinese Malaysian, so it's a sort of like all Asians are interchangeable. We probably want to avoid that.
I mean, in the stupid American remake.
Yeah, I guess if we're going for that. But
I don't know.
Sandra Oh does come to mind.
Oh god, I would love to see Sandra Oh and Ma Dong-Seok do a movie together.
Yes!
Also, I bet another reason why this movie looks so freaking good is maybe you know better than I do, Shami. Does Korea have better union protections than the United States? Because I'm guessing they do.
It depends on the union, but they do offer better deals. Or at least that's what some of my research said. But they do have like this sort of, I don't want to say insular, but everyone kind of knows everyone in the industry. That's why there's so many like pairs of nickels coming up, because like I said, the actor for K also was in The Outlaws with Ma Dong-Seok.
So is it kind of like studio system acting? Like you find your type and then you keep doing that with the same studio or production company?
Sometimes that happens, but it also depends on the kind of movie that's being made or who's directing. Because sometimes there are directors who have favorites, and then sometimes there's directors who are like, no, we'll go with someone new and see what that happens.
I need to double check. Has Ma Dong-Seok worked with Bong Joon-ho? Because I feel like they should have worked together by this point. I mean, if they haven't done a movie together, I desperately want them to.
I don't see anything that's any commonalities between their filmographies.
Well, that's
odd, yeah.
A little disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to manifest it now.
Yeah, let's go for it. Like, Bong Joon-ho's next project.
Because, to be clear, the whole Gangster Cop the Devil American remake, that was announced back in 2019.
Wait, he was in Sense8?
Oh.
He was a club bodyguard, yeah.
Well, Sense8 just got a little more appealing to me. But, I don't know when they plan on doing this English language remake, because they announced this remake, like, in May 2019, like, right when this was coming out at Cannes, but...
Why? It's unnecessary, and this is coming from someone who hates that word!
It's been 5 years, and there hasn't been a peep on it.
Maybe they're now just getting that it's not necessary?
I mean, I would hope so, and,
너, 자막, 서브타이틀의 장벽도 아니죠. 한 1인치 정도 되는 그 장벽을 뛰어넘으면 여러분들이 훨씬 더 많은 영화를 즐길 수 있습니다.
Once you overcome the 1-inch tall barrier of subtitles, you will be introduced to so many more amazing films.
I was maybe more forgiving of the live-action Disney remakes than I should have been, but with this film, I get it in a visceral way. I get the anti-remake position so much more viscerally. I don't know what made me take this position, but I feel it now, deep in my soul.
It's because you can't take something from an Eastern setting and put it in Western setting. You lose so much when you do that.
I mean, George would argue that you can do it, but only if you add spaceships and your own self-insert. Oh my god. Sylvester Stallone is going to put spaceships...
Oh god! Nope.
I'm kidding. Universe, ignore me.
Oh god, but now I want my look at a Star Wars somewhere.
Oh my god, he'd be so good in Star Wars.
Yeah, but we already have Lee Won-tae, so we already have South Korean actors in, like, the Star Wars universe.
And they're allowed to keep their accents.
Exactly!
Imagine Ma Dong-Seok, like, brawling with a Wookiee. That would look so cool.
Yeah.
Let the Wookiee win does not apply there. The fact that this movie takes place in 2005, that is so oddly funny to me. I do not know why.
What else was happening in 2005?
Revenge of the Sith was coming out. And, like, the United States were doing an unnecessary war in the Middle East. We were in, like, year 4 of Forever War.
We literally have him playing an arm wrestler in Champion. That is so funny to me for some reason.
I can't really think of why they would specifically pick 2005 except to do that thing. Like, we talked about it in the Bound episode. Like, setting it vaguely in the past makes it slightly more timeless.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes the technology also kind of funny.
We see the cell.
At this point, you don't have a phone and a handheld recorder. They're just the same device.
Yeah.
And your phone doesn't flip open. Did they ever clarify what those tank thingies were that were in Kay's apartments and stuff? Like, I don't think he was collecting trophies, right?
He wasn't collecting trophies, but I'm having certain flashbacks to The Handmaiden. If you get what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a visually striking image, but I can't remember it being explored.
No,
very thoroughly.
Like a lot of what he does is virtually unexplored. They always focus on like the serial killing and what he's been doing, but they never focus on like his home life or like even in his apartment.
Other than that small illusion of like, oh, he grew up in an orphanage and his dad abused him.
It's like, do we want to keep it mysterious? But I think that's the wrong way to go.
That is kind of the problem if you call your serial killer the devil. Like, then you have to give him this air of mystery.
Does not help that he gets nicknamed K either. It's just giving me so much Kira vibes.
Yeah.
They have the same haircut!
Wait, hang on a second. Hang on. Death Note was running between December 2003 and May 2006, the original manga.
Oh my god.
So maybe that's why we keep having the Death Note vibe so hard.
Oh my god.
I can't speak to what Korea was like in 2005, but I guess it feels 2005-y to me, a person who wasn't really paying much attention to the greater world around me in 2005.
I mean, some of the fashion aesthetics, especially the haircut, does fit.
Yeah. Kay's haircut is always going to be the Justin Bieber haircut to me, but in 2005, Canada had not inflicted that upon us yet.
We're sorry about that. Well, actually, I'm not apologizing since I'm Sri Lankan Canadian. I just make myself for that.
Anything else you can think of?
Honestly, that girl should have lived. That girl should have shown up in the trial as a big middle finger.
You know what? I'm gonna get Ire searching through the multiverse for the version of this movie where she lives.
The movie where she keeps on roasting Tae-suk.
Yes. Burn him forever, my child. Given how we've been gushing, I don't think I need to ask, but is the Force with it?
It is definitely with it, because Ma Dong-Seok is the common denominator here.
Indeed. Ma Dong-Seok is the Force, and so the Force is with it. God damn. Go check this movie out if you haven't seen it. It is available, I believe, on Tubi right now. I watched it through Pluto TV.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those are free, but Tubi's wildly sporadic about what is and isn't on there, so go watch it now. And again, subtitles are your friends.
Yep, especially when you have auditory processing issues.
Alright, Shami, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Okay, so you can find me on the online news on Tumblr, and we're currently down to 300 for my debt, so my GoFundMe is still up. Any financial assistance is greatly appreciated.
As for me, I will ask that you keep the spirit of Star Wars alive by supporting artists through the Entertainment Community Fund, and by taking action to support anti-imperial and anti-colonial movements across the globe, partially by using links provided below, and by taking action in your community. And you can find me on the wider internet as La Femme Fictionale, including on YouTube, Twitter, and Tumblr, where you can also find the blog for this show. Our theme music is provided by Refractory Period, the two girls' one-beat synth-pop sensation. You can follow them on Instagram at Refractory Period the band. To further support this podcast, please subscribe to us on your platform of choice, leave reviews, consider joining Patreon, and share with your friends to boost our visibility. To further support this podcast, please subscribe to us on your platform of choice, leave reviews, and share with your friends to boost our visibility. And consider joining Patreon, where you can get early access to our bi-weekly recaps of The Acolyte as it airs. And now it's time to turn to the Chance Cube to decide where our journey takes us next.
Another 6?
Another 6, which means in our continuing international spirit, we are going with Yeelin.
Ooh.
We will see you all in the near future. Until then, stay safe, stay strong, stay beautiful, and may the force be with you.